to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You're gonna break them up and proofread them, make our notes, and then give them to you.
Take my mask off. Okay, the meeting's coming. We'll do to go to the minutes.
Okay, I will make a recommendation to the public meeting minutes of May 26th with a minor correction. Here it is. On page 4, just a adequate change. One of the who is investigating rather than are investigating. And one other. I'm sorry, on page 3, under the expiration, third line down, budget, not open things, challenges. So I crossed out budget.
Second,
I'll second.
was that Emily?
Yep.
Okay. Any other corrections?
No more corrections.
Abigail?
Nope.
I can't see all of you. Melissa?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
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 Passes.
He did.
Approve the non-public minutes of May 26th with no corrections.
Did you say you couldn't hear anything?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you were asking.
Okay, sorry. Want me to speak louder?
Yeah.
Angle.
Pardon?
Okay. Did you have any corrections, Peg?
No, I said with no corrections at
Sorry.
all.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Abigail?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye. Aye.
Said aye.
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 Right. Public comments?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Claudine Burnham, and I'm here as a concerned resident of Milton. I want to first commend all of those who led the way through the pandemic with the safety of the students and staff first, and still providing those students access to a somewhat normal attendance in school. After reviewing the last few school board meetings on YouTube, I was perplexed at the quick decisions made by this board on the students' mask mandate, and actually the lack of parent concerns over this continued mandate. Per the recommendation of the NHDPHS, the governor has dropped all mandates concerning the mask and relaxed many of the guidelines for the COVID protocol as of May 8th. I noticed that the school has organized a COVID vaccine clinic and went above and beyond required protocol for keeping the students and staff safe. The school has done a remarkable job considering routes, hallways, and other suggested procedures to keep everyone safe. However, with the warmer weather here, I am genuinely concerned with the mask mandate continuing without adding additional consequences to the students and staff. Many school districts, including Portsmouth and schools from all over the state, have dropped their mask mandate policies and even all COVID restrictions. At the board's last meeting, Mr. Brown brought attention to your oath to the New Hampshire Constitution regarding HE-P 301.13-15. Which was in regards to immunization, and I'll be glad to get back to that in a minute. But since Mr. Brown actually brought up your oath to the New Hampshire Constitution, I would like to bring attention to RSA 126-U:4, which states the following: that New Hampshire law prohibits schools from requiring restraints on children that restrict their breathing. The law states that no school or facility shall use or threaten the use of any physical restraints that obstruct a child's respiratory airway, impairs the child's breathing and respiratory capacity, or restricts the movement required for normal breathing. Even recently, Dr. Chan from the DHHS has urged school district leaders and consider letting New Hampshire students take off masks during indoor events, such as the upcoming graduation, due to heat exhaustion, dehydration, and significant discomfort. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I will inform you that there is an attorney, Robert Bojo, who is representing the district for Bedford and Hollis Brookline school districts to prohibit the schools from continuing their mask mandate. And I just recently heard that there is a third district involved. With that said, I urge you to revisit your mask policy this evening. Reconsider your mask mandate to becoming an optional status in all areas. And now to go back to the item that Mr. Brown had made, referring to the New Hampshire law mentioned, which requires that all children enrolled in any school, preschool, or child care have certain immunizations to protect them and those around them from vaccine-preventable diseases. In addition, schools and child care providers must collect and review the immunization records of the enrolled children and submit an annual immunization report to the DHHS. In case the board is unaware, the COVID-19 vaccines are only authorized by the FDA to be used as an emergency use authorization protocol. Therefore, the vaccines are not FDA approved to be used as a standard school immunization requirement. So as of right now, the COVID-19 vaccines are still in human trials and they are not in a mandatory status. I really appreciate you taking the time and reconsidering your mask mandate policy, and hopefully children and staff will find that they will be able to breathe freely. It's humid in that building. I can't imagine all day with a mask on my face. So I pray and urge you to reconsider on making that a mandate. Thank you for your time.
Who's it there?
It's the one I emailed you from Mr. Bonham.
We can't be here tonight.
Can't be here.
Want to put it in the minutes?
Is it okay if I read it?
Well, what's the board want?
Yeah, thanks.
But can I ask you a question before you read that? Do you disagree with what you proposed last meeting?
Last meeting, all we proposed, you mean for graduation or for?
No, in the minutes. Go ahead and read it.
Right, so Mr. Nick Botta could not be here tonight because he's working, but he wanted to state and read about graduation. First, he'd like to thank you all for allowing the opportunity to bring this issue to your attention. He would have loved to speak to you in person regarding the matter, but he could not attend due to his work schedule. On June 11th, his one and only son will be graduating high school along with his friends and classmates. The last 2 school years have been impacted by this pandemic. It's made school and life extremely hard for students in many different aspects. Graduation day is all about those big, cheesy, proud smiles, which brings him to the topic of discussion, face coverings, or masks. He would like to ask for a reconsideration about the decision of required face masks and perhaps meet in the middle and leave it optional. He would hate to see a temporary problem interfere with such an important day in his son's life. He would hate to not give his son the opportunity to cherish the memories of that day. He remembers his own graduation like it was yesterday, and he plays the tape in his head. He sees smiling families, friends, classmates, along with teachers and principals proudly, as they had all achieved a lot together throughout the school years. Currently, there are many regions in the state that are lifting the mandate, including the State House, where our lawmakers and their staff are no longer required to wear them. Our lawmakers, mind you, the people that we vote to represent us, are not required to wear masks. The superintendent of schools in Amherst, New Hampshire, lifted the mask policy for the remainder of the school year, starting on Monday, June 7th. He spoke with his secretary, as he was not available, and she told him they have an emergency policy on personal protective measures that allows the superintendent to solely make decisions based on his discretion. His students are now able to be free of the mask for the remainder of the year, and the senior class can walk without restrictions, as they should. Upon looking at the numbers, as of June 7th, Milton is said to have 1 to 4 active cases, with 246 total since the beginning of the pandemic, and 0 new cases. He knows that there is much opposition on both sides of this debate, and it may feel as if this is a difficult decision to make, but he respectfully urges you to make a personal choice for these kids and not just what the CDC is recommending. Let's let these young adults be able to make this decision on their own as they enter the world that their parents and teachers have prepared them for. Give them the freedom to take off the mask if they choose. Show them that they have the ability to fend for themselves and have a voice. Allow them to make this graduation moment full of real human contact. And why does real human contact nowadays sound so foreign and slightly creepy? Let them make real memories instead of unrecognizable friends and classmates who won't be recognized years later watching graduation video recordings. He would hate the theme of his son's graduation to be faceless, expressionless, robotic, and limited. Please think about everything he has stated. Also, making it optional just means you have the right to choose. Some families will come fully masked, and some will show up ready to smile from ear to ear. He also asked to share Ruth Ellen Vaughn, the superintendent at Farmington, on the 8th, posted that last night the Farmington School Board voted to remove all restrictions for students imposed during the pandemic, which includes masks, desk barriers, and social distancing effective today, which was June 8th. Masks may still be worn by choice. Remote by choice will remain an option for families throughout the end of the school year. And again, he thanks you for your attention.
Can I read what was in the last minutes that we just approved?
Sure.
Mask wearing proposal from MES and Jan. CD change protocols and procedures if anybody is fully vaccinated that they did not need to wear their mask inside or outside doors. However, the guidelines that came out from the state did not apply to K through 12 schools. We looked at ways to lapse some of our mask mandates as stated below. And this is the list that we were given. Students will continue to wear their masks during transition, walking in the hallways, moving around in the classroom, loading and unloading buses. Students will be required to wear masks if they are able to maintain the 6-foot physical distance while on the bus. Masks are not required but recommended if a student inside a classroom or at his seats behind the shields or as long as 3 feet distancing can be maintained. Teachers may opt out to wear clear shield teaching in front of the class when students are seated behind the desk shields. It is recommended but not required that a physical distance while outside. It is required that the students use the playground equipment to wear a mask if 3 feet distance cannot be maintained. We will continue to limit visitors and visitors will be required to wear masks. This is what you brought to the board last time. PEG made the motion to accept the mask requiring proposal by MESU based on CDC guidelines from May 27, 2021 and to August 10, 2021, seconded by Lissa. The vote was 5-0.
Yes, so last time, the Department of Public Health and Safety at the state level has not changed their recommendations at all. We asked to modify it to let children take their masks off when they were behind their shields, which you guys
No
did.
problem with that.
So I do have a proposal that I've sent to the fire chief and the police chief and shared with our nurses for graduation only. That the parents and family members are sitting by family unit. They'll be in seats of 5 that are separated from 3 feet front to back and side to side from other family units. That they have to wear a mask when entering and departing the building, but once they're in their seats in the gym, that they're allowed to remove their masks while seated. Students, when they're walking into pomp and circumstance, will be at least 6 feet apart, and on the stage are 3 feet apart of seats. So we're proposing that walking into pomp and circumstance, they do not need to wear a mask, and while standing on the stage, do not need to wear a mask. Again, when they're getting diplomas, they'll be spaced out at least 3 feet. When they're getting their diploma, it'll just be me. So we're, I think, to maybe accommodate some of these requests, that they're able to march in and out without a mask on and receive their diploma without a mask on. While seated, they could still put their mask on and seated on stage.
The only legal problem I have with this right now, we didn't put it on the agenda.
Right.
So the problem we have with that legally, and you know this is true, the other people who favored masks should have the option to come and speak. So tonight, we can't deal with that issue.
I did let
You understand that
it
legally?
wasn't on the agenda. I did.
I didn't know this was gonna really occur until it was too late to be posted. Had to be in by Thursday at 12 noon. So I have policies I have to, not, I could end up in court, and everybody knows. Is anybody else that wants to speak? Now, if the board wants to put on the next agenda, I have no problem with it. That can be discussed.
To the, Larry Brown, to the best of my knowledge and belief, the school board and any public body has the authority to bring any topic it wishes into the agenda by its own authority under other business. And there is no requirement that a person be there to offer an alternate opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, can I say something? Larry, I wholeheartedly disagree with you. Because I've seen legal cases where you had a problem. You got to put it on the agenda to warn people the pros and cons.
Yes, sir. My question is, have you your own attorney's advice?
No, I have not.
Okay. Then that, nice thing about law is it provides an answer and a cause.
It provides an interpretation,
Well,
subject
to adjudication, review by higher court, and nothing but mild dissent. That as to Mr. Brown, I may get Claudine to call me Larry yet. My comment was in terms of Public Law 301, as it applied to classic children's immunizations, not to the present COVID-19. And my question to the board, under Public Law 301, as they are agents of the state, if they support the Public Law 301 for childhood immunizations. Now, if we go to the New Testament, we find that we were advised to use holy oil and to have the elders pray over us, and to take a little wine for thy stomach's sake. In the Old Testament, we are told not to cut upon ourselves. There goes the tattoo parlor. And not to take blood. And there go arguments against steroid. But for public health, when the Pfizer vaccine, I'm double vaccinated, this is a courtesy that I should be, by accident, a contamination to you. It is an inconvenience to breathe, but I think it is specious. That is not fair and exact to compare a face mask to the very carefully defined ADA physical restraints. I worked in a psychiatric hospital. I know physical restraints. I do have my own comment. I was not expecting this. I wish everyone well for the best graduation and memories for their high school students. Some of mine are dead, some I miss, some I don't. If I may take an additional moment.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have for several times now worked in terms of what I call the 8.5 by 11 summary. The standards for tuition agreements, the standards for surveys, and tonight I did a compressed review of the Barrington and Dover agreement. I broke it down to 10 points. Nicely done. I did it myself. But my assumptions for this district joining another district are as follows. That the administration and physical plant costs, that is for EMS, elementary, middle, will stay basically flat. So you have the cost of 200 new students going to District X, 20 miles away. Now, we have from public sources, New Hampshire DOE, the average cost for tuition at Newt, the average cost for tuition at Barrington, and we have from the Barrington-Dover agreement an administrative fee of 8%. So you do the math, which is 17,600 times 200 students is $3,520,000. Tuition at Barrington, 15,500, including a 8% surcharge, is 3,100,000. There is a $400,000 savings. Unfortunately, by the time you calculate transportation costs, you're down to $139,000, I think, $400. That's a 1.4% of a $10 million budget. So I'm going to leave this with you. You can look it over. It is a very good summary of what is involved in a tuition agreement. So what this board should be doing is exercising their executive autonomy and working within 194 and 195 for that kind of agreement.
Larry, I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you figured out those figures, right, those were based on non-special education costs, correct?
That if board please, I would be happy to answer that. You will find that the summary of the 10 points as I prepared them refers directly to special ed costs. It refers to outpatient costs, and it refers to the cost of transportation for late activities, for the sports teams bus, everything in that. So to answer your question, if I may, and if the chair permits. Yeah, go ahead. That if you go to, okay, this is the Barrington and Dover Covenant and Agreement that is current through 6/30/24. When you get down to point number 4, they had 18 or 19 separate points. I condensed them. Number 4, tuition shall be last year's average plus 8% administrative fee. Barrington, special ed, 1-to-1 paras, and all out-of-district charges. Legal fees in SPED are to each district as to the nature of the complaint. Medicaid, catastrophic aid as documented to each district. Barrington pays out-of-district adjudicated IEP costs and certain high school capital costs as well, the long-term bonding for high school, for example. Tuition is calculated and reconciled in November. And then the other things are prorated. And does that answer your question on transportation?
Somewhat. My thought to you, my question to you, I guess, is you come up with a figure of approximately $17,000 per student that's based on an average student, where Milton has a 20% special education population. So you need to figure for that 20%, which is going to be considerably higher than the $17,000 a year. And that includes 17,600 coming from the figures he got.
The figures are from State of New Hampshire, DOE, average tuition the last couple of years.
We've been running real numbers, and we're coming up with something more along 23,000.
One of the things that I did not put in this, because it sounded too snarky, was When you get better numbers, you use them. Right now, you're not using any numbers.
I'm using the most up-to-date numbers, and we're
And
coming
what
up
are
with
you
23,000. We've been working, me and some of the people on the exploratory committee have been working with the business administrator who has firsthand knowledge of what the numbers
Do
are.
you have the numbers?
I don't have them with.
When you
but
get
I'm
the
just
numbers,
curious. Well, we have a meeting on Monday,
when you get the numbers,
and you're on the
run
committee.
them down. No, I work independently. And I'll get to that later. But
Larry, can I ask, are you on that committee?
I am on that committee.
Are you privy to those figures?
I don't use.
No, you didn't answer my question. Do you have access to those figures that committee is bringing in?
No,
Why not?
because I have 147 unread emails on my computer. No one sends anything to me on email.
So you don't read them?
I don't.
So you don't know if you have them figures or not?
Right. I'm giving you a pattern. You work the pattern, use your better numbers, you will get a better answer.
I have a committee that's doing that job, and they're gonna present that proposal to us in the future.
Yes. But that is the answer right now, using the state's average figures. You plug in a different figure, you'll get a different answer. If you get a cost of transportation that can reduce your total budget, fine. If your transportation reduces your savings, you have to accept that as well. If you want to have everyone, have mom drive them down, you pay nothing for transportation. It is the process that controls. Are you working on each one of these? Do you have a copy of the Alton Joint Maintenance Agreement?
Aren't you part of that committee?
Huh?
Aren't you part of that committee?
My question is, do you
No,
have a
you haven't
copy
answered
of
my
it?
question. You're asking me a question, and you should have privy to that information, Larry.
I got it myself.
I don't know what the committee's got, because they haven't given me a report yet. It's coming.
That if they want the information, all they had to do was ask Mrs. Patterson.
I don't know, Mrs. Patterson.
Right. She's the secretary to the superintendent in Alton. And then you're still left at the end with the cost of transportation. If you have better figures for transportation, if you have a better figure than $22 an hour, including benefits, use it. If you want to use 18 miles, 18.3 miles to the high school, use it. It is the pattern that is going to cover the cost. Number of drivers, number of buses, number of days in the school year. Buses hold 63 students. We have 219 students. That's 3.5 buses. It's hard to drive half the bus down to Burlington.
Nomination.
Anybody else on the other subject?
Doug, I have to agree that we had such kickback when we were even returning our students to school. We had such parents that were outraged that I don't see how we can go forward without giving them the opportunity to speak
On what issue?
on the issue of the mask.
Well, then we can put it on the agenda for next time.
Well, with all due respect, it doesn't do any good to put it on the agenda next time, because then graduation is over. And let me finish. And to be fair, the pros of masks have been talked about for 10 months. Really, I mean, that's the honest truth. We've talked about the pros of masks for 10 months. So to say that that hasn't been represented isn't true.
Tonight, we're not giving mask. Somebody out there, Dr. Faber, did not give them the opportunity. Legal issue. Has to be posted and put on the agenda. Next meeting. I got a selectman here, is that not true?
I'm actually finding that out, to be quite honest. This is more than just a legal issue. It's a health issue. There are children passing out in local hospitals because of dehydration and heat exhaustion,
Here in Milton?
all over the state, not all over the state.
I have not, I have,
Requested that school boards and administration break down their policies
so we focus on that.
I would call the nurse, I have the same concerns you do. I asked that. Laura called me 2 or 3 weeks ago, and asked me to remove the mask. I have asked the same question to Earl. I have read everything, okay, that I can get my hands on. And I had called the nurse today, and she said, and she sent me the latest document right here. She said, that's, hey, do you know this for a fact? You know what the EEOC is?
I do not.
Okay, I'll read it.
So that we have.
Let me finish. All right? The U.S. companies can mandate that employees in a workplace must be vaccinated against COVID-19. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission made that statement on Friday, on May 29th. That's in our packet. Okay? I can only go by the information that people give me. Do I mandate this? No, I do not. But I bring the information. I try to read everything I can get on this subject. I told Vada I would check into this, and I've asked Earl about it. So I am looking at this seriously. I have not heard anybody in our system, or even on the news, and give me the information and I'll be glad to read it. I'm always reading something. The latest thing I read, let me tell you, Mark, are you aware of this? The new COVID coming out of India, it's 50% more contagious than the rest, and it brings gangrene. 6% of the U.S. has that in it. 18% in the western states. Do you know that?
With all due respect, I do not want to refer to something that is not current here at the moment, and right now what is current is that we're reaching high temperatures,
I
okay?
think we've gone by. It's going to be cool the next couple of days.
When you start sticking over 100 people in that gym, it is going to get very, very warm, and you know that, okay? I am speaking from the heart and care of individuals and their health. When you're going to have to start calling ambulances because they are suffering of heat exhaustion, they're going to come to you. This is not legal. This is a health issue.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Amy Johnson. I am also all for taking the mask off. We have 7 days of school left. 7. Graduation, I know I wouldn't have wanted to wear a mask for graduation. I have kids in elementary school that are exhausted and red by the time they get off that bus. We have 7 days of school left. Other districts are doing it, drop the mask, 7 days. Revisit it for next year. We have 7 days. They get out. My kindergartner gets out on Tuesday. My 4th grader gets out on next Friday. The masks, we don't need them. I can tell you offhand how many families I hang out with outside of school, and my kids are talking and hanging out face to face. You telling me that everybody's still social distancing? It's not happening. Kids are on sports teams. Kids are going to other houses for sleepovers still. We don't need the mask. We're all being exposed to each other outside of school, so school isn't going to make the difference.
I don't split any of that with you, any of you. I got a daughter that won't be vaccinated. Okay, won't wear masks. That's your prerogative. I'm stopping you. This is the policy, the board, but I think,
Make it optional.
I think the board.
Vote on it tonight, make it optional.
No, I don't think it's right.
Tell the kids to wear masks to school. If they
I
want to
think it's
wear
a legal
masks to
issue.
graduation, wear a mask to graduation.
I think it's a legal issue. I think we should, you've come in as a non-mask, I should allow the pro-mask people to come in and speak also.
They could have come.
But it wasn't posted on the agenda. That's a legal issue.
But instead of ranting on Facebook, they could have been here tonight too. I don't know too many people that are for masks right now, actually. I know more people that are against the mask,
I'm not disputing,
especially with the high heat, like she
I'm not disputing that with you. I'm not.
I know, but I'm saying make it optional. Let the parents choose if they want their kids to wear masks to school every day.
It's not just up to me.
So not because of that. I have my kid right now at home sucking on a nebulizer because he has to wear a mask policy. Had an asthma attack in 2 years.
Now, what about a person with, an immune deficiency that has to wear a mask? Someone with cancer has to be careful. Don't, come on now.
I'm sorry. I had COVID.
Can I say to you?
Yeah.
I have cancer. okay? No, don't be sorry, don't be sorry. No, I don't like your comment either, Selectman lady, okay? That's a serious battle that I'm fighting,
I know, my stepmother just died of it.
okay? So I have to be careful, okay? Now, what about all the kids in the system with immune deficiency? What do I do with them?
He wasn't that.
What about the people that come in without the mask that contaminate them?
They're not letting us in the building. I'm a bus driver and I can't even go in the building.
Well, I know where you're coming from, but I not only have to protect your child, but I have to protect another child.
Absolutely. I mean, I still.
I have an ongoing battle right now that I'm fighting.
On that bus today.
I'm in remission.
My stepmother just died.
Okay. I have great sympathy for your stepmother, I'm sorry. It's a terrible disease to die from.
I think if the governor draws the wall, then why can't we all?
Why won't the governor, you know who I blame? I blame the legislature. I blame the governor. He should have taken more of a bigger stand. He's leaving it to the individual districts, which is wrong. He has no backbone. Neither does the legislature.
There's people that are pro not mask, if they could come. And I knew about this meeting.
Well, because you were part of the group that was coming in. I didn't know there was a group coming in. I knew about Barter's letter, but I knew.
I just showed up.
You must have, I didn't know about, I knew about Barter's letter.
We didn't call each other and say, hey, you're gonna go to the school board meetings. No.
I didn't know about it, you were coming. I didn't know it was gonna be, other than his letter being read.
No, they can or cannot come. They don't.
She's saying, Doug, is she didn't come to talk about masks. She just came to the meeting. That's what she's saying.
Oh,
See what was going on. That's all. I just think it's, I think
not up to me.
it's up to you. You're the chair.
No, you misunderstand what the chair does. The chair runs the meeting. I'm only one person.
That's all up to you guys.
If they wanna do it, they can do it. But there's a legal issue, I'm telling you there is. They can do it. They wanna lift the mask. Is there a vote here to lift it? They can do it. I won't stop them. But I'm telling you, there's a legal issue here. And I don't care what anybody says, that there's not a legal issue here. I can tell you if you go to the selectmen's meeting like the ZBA, and you wanna change something, and you only want the people that are against it, and you don't wanna bring the people that are for it, you got a problem and you don't make an announcement. I played both sides as a school board and a selectman. If the board wants to deal with the issue, all somebody has to do is make a motion and second it, and I'll deal with it. As chairman, but I'm only one vote. I have no control over these 4 people. There has to be a second. If they don't do it, it won't get done.
But it's difficult to make a motion when you're telling me that it's not legal.
I don't think it's legal.
I mean, that puts me in sort of a difficult position. Right.
I'm not stopping you from doing it.
I would make a motion to at least talk about graduation, especially graduation, because they only get one. You know, I'm really sorry, I agree they shouldn't be wearing masks, but it's 6 days.
My son graduated last year. He had no choice. His whole year was ruined. The one time for graduation, he never had the opportunity to go to a graduation. It was decided for him. And he lost out on a lot of senior activities, a lot of that. But he understood because it was safety for everybody. We cannot be selfish. And unfortunately, you know, we gotta look at the good for everybody and not just for a few.
Was that a motion that you gave, Emily?
Yep.
Say it again, please.
I make a motion that we let masks be optional at graduation.
Do I have a second?
May I, Steph? I didn't hear the whole thing, Emily.
Just, I'm making a motion that we allow masks to be optional at graduation.
Okay.
Now, do you people realize that vote is a legal vote? Even if somebody opposes that motion, can make the second for the sake of discussion. Do you realize that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you should know that as a legislator.
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody's opposed, then they can second that for the sake of discussion.
I'll second that so we can talk about it.
Okay?
Oh.
So talk.
Just for some clarification, it doesn't sound to me like there's gonna be that much mask wearing at the graduation when,
That's my,
when Principal Roberts just broke it down.
That was my proposal, that's not, the current plan is everybody's masked for the entire year.
oh, I see.
Oh, okay. I think I'm understood. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but it sounds like we should be able to easily socially distance, and if there's social distancing, you don't need a mask. I mean, even under CDC guidelines.
But are we gonna?
Incorrect in,
I can understand the pause. We're gonna be able to, accomplish that on stage?
3 feet apart on stage,
No shields.
no shields. That's why I said standing, because when they're standing to get their diplomas, they're by themselves walking across the stage. When they go sit back down, then I would say they put their masks back on. But when they're standing to receive diplomas, when they're standing to leave, again, they'll be 6 feet apart, and then marching out.
I ask that my personal information not be in that. That's my personal.
Are you restricting families from having out-of-state visitors? No, it's their family unit, most of them are gonna travel together in the car anyway.
but the family units will be separated from other family units. Okay.
But I do ask in the minutes that my concern about this issue be noted, that I feel that it wasn't on the agenda. I think there's a legal issue, and that should be in the minutes, because I want that in the minutes. You know, that's a legal issue. The fact that I'm against, same concerns as everybody else. I've got a granddaughter in this system also. Okay, do we have any more, discussion from anybody?
I just recommend that, moving forward with any, meetings with the school board, this policy should always be open on the agenda for discussion.
What?
Because of changes that occur so quickly within the state and parameters of let us.
Okay, we have a policy on our book. Anytime the CDC makes a change, we have a memorandum of understanding with the teachers union that they'll be adopted. So we've taken care of that issue.
But you're not allowing it for discussion or any changes of policy here.
Well, that's the agreement the board made with anything happens in this, CDC brings out anything new, we adopt it.
But what about even with what Dr. Shannon recently mentioned about, relaxing the mandates on mask wearing?
But is that from the CDC?
New Hampshire,
I don't,
even the DHHS from New Hampshire.
we said CDC, did we not? The memorandum of understanding?
So you're not listening to the governor's guidelines from the, Department of Health of New Hampshire?
Is he listening to the CDC?
Yes, of course they are.
I don't sound like it.
CDC has recommended mask wearing still indoors. Mask has been listed for outdoors for K-12.
These are guidelines, and when it varies more, like it has been, there has to be some adjustments to it.
And there has been adjustments.
So, it's just my recommendation that this should be.
Do we have any more discussion from the board? Board ready to vote? Well, I'm gonna start off by saying no. Peg?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So it doesn't pass. Thank everybody for coming in. I like having good discussions. You know, think it was proper? Anybody else on this issue? Want this law, Larry? I think you questioned that, Larry. Now, the other issue that bothers me is, and I've asked this question several times, about, you can ask Earl, or anybody who's been with me, I'm always asking this question. We, as a school, require kids to get certain vaccinations. Why are we not requiring the kids to get the vaccinations? I am not the lawyer, okay? I am not the doctor. So I have to listen to other people with their information, and I'm reading all the time. This is new to me. I just got this the other day. This is the question I was asking about employees, man. Am I proposing that? No. But this agency did. If I was a doctor, I'd be someplace else. Okay, anybody else on the board? Do I have any more comments from the public on anything? Ladies first, go ahead.
I'm just looking for requests. I had emailed you yesterday, you might not have gotten the email yet, but
What's the request?
myself and other parents have certain
I
concerns.
ask for this conversation to stop. You are not talking about a teacher without that teacher represented in this room.
First of all, I'm not using names.
It doesn't matter. We know exactly because of the situation. We know exactly you were not allowed to talk about a teacher
I'm
without
not
them present.
talking about a teacher. Thank you for cutting me off. That other parents' concerns that have been brought up throughout the year that have not been taken care of. So we're asking for a non-public session with the board so that when we use it non-publicly, only privately between us and the board to be discussed.
No, can I ask you?
I've contacted Earl already and I got a quick response right off the bat and then I haven't had anything else.
Now, can I ask you another question? We have a policy, we have a chain of command. Did you go to the teacher?
I'm the teacher.
You've gone to the teacher multiple times?
Yeah.
I don't mean to.
There's a lot of concerns. and
Okay, no, I'm asking
in the classroom that a lot of parents are not happy with.
Okay, no. Now, do you went to the principal?
The principal with a couple of concerns.
Okay, that's good. That's the proper way to do it.
I understand,
You've gone to Earl.
but there are things discussed in private, not in public, the whole.
I'll talk to Earl about this. I will do that.
I will.
I don't think I got you.
And other parents will email everything over.
I don't think I got it from you.
I didn't see anyone, I didn't see any email. Did you send it? Okay.
When did you send it?
Yesterday.
Who are you?
Ms. Johnson.
I'm sorry, I got a lot going on. I'll write that down.
Was it under his SAU email? Okay.
I'll look, Amy. I'll take a look. Earl, are you aware of this?
It's a personnel, and this is not the place to discuss it.
I'm not asking to discuss it.
Yes, I'm aware. Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Okay. Amy, I can't get on, see, let me see. I can't get any of the information now because we're going to non-public until we get the information in non. Okay? Anybody else? Marion, don't you have anything? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. All right. Would anybody like the latest copies I got from the nurse?
Was that sent out to us?
You probably got the letter, but you didn't get the packet.
Okay, then I'll take.
I made copies of that.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and I brought it to the general public.
Oh. All right, am I general?
Somebody wants them, there's a copy here. This is the latest and greatest from the school nurse, and this is what I asked her permission this morning on the phone to make copies and pass them out. There's a letter there also. Okay, Earl, do you have anything?
Yes, Nate has his financial reports.
Okay.
Nate?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay,
Gina took, sorry, what did you? Graduation, I just realized that.
Or no? Do I just leave it, or what do you do? Because it's only in public comment, not on the agenda.
We all set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, operating expense, May 1st, May 31st. Glad, anybody have any questions for Nate?
Yeah, I did have questions, and Nate, thank you for responding. All of a sudden, our encumbrances went down and our budget balance went up for the end of the year. And Nate said that Cafe Services very kindly, for the 2 months, Nate,
Yes, 2 months.
gave us 2 months free due to COVID. And what's the monthly, like 217, 210,000?
For 2 months, it worked out to be about 54,000.
54,000?
Yeah, actually, it's probably closer to 56,000.
Okay. Yeah, because it was a huge jump in money left.
That wasn't from from Cafe Services though, because that was almost doubled.
Part of it
Right.
was.
No.
Part of it was.
Yeah, but the reason probably we saved so much money was because of the COVID situation. Is that not right?
Yeah, yes, so I'll explain where our fund balance estimate is in a minute, but you're absolutely right. We just haven't spent a lot of money because of COVID, and the money that we did spend, most of it was through the grants.
So in a normal year, this money would not be there.
Correct, yes.
Now that figure 648, is that with the warrant articles taken out?
Yes, I read it in.
No, that 648 is just the expense portion.
How much is the warrant articles?
If you take, well, the bottom line is I'm estimating that we're going to give back to the town, so after warrant articles, roughly 435,000 as of right now.
Yeah. That'll be a good dollar off the tax rate.
Okay, Nate, I'm going to ask you a silly question. Or maybe this is last year, okay. Because I looked and saw a transfer to trust funds for the 125,000.
That was for last year.
Was that from that? Okay,
That was last
all
year's
right,
warrant
thank you.
articles. Yeah.
What was this year's?
Same,
So,
exact same, 125,000.
again?
Yeah, you guys did the same
Okay.
thing. You blanketed them like you did last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the operating budget? Revenue report, first to May 31st. Any questions?
I don't know.
Something grant report, May 31st.
One of that I did ask Nate today, because there are questions being asked about some of the grants, you know, like dates and this and that. And so I've actually asked Nate if I can go in and spend some time with him to have him explain to me. Because when people ask me questions, I like to have an answer. Maybe perhaps the correct answer rather than saying, yeah, okay. So anyway, no specific questions, but, you know, why is something still on there if the balance is zero, but something is gone if the balance, anyway.
What's up?
So be prepared, Nate.
Okay.
Is that it? Nate, do you have anything else?
The admin team's compiling a list like we did last year with things that we would like to see happen before the end of the year, like you guys usually, you requested it last year. I just want you guys to be aware that we're working on one and we'll be presenting it at the next meeting for approval or not.
So that's the end of the financial report? I have a question to ask the board.
Well, we've got the food service, yeah, the general fund,
Okay, you
yeah,
want to do the treasurer's report?
and the food service. and-
47 to 50. I'm in the motion to approve it. Treasurer's report?
I will second that.
Oh,
What? I'm going yay.
any questions? Ed?
Aye.
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 Okay, what's the next one here? Cash account? We need a motion on that, Nate?
No,
And that's for, ending December 31st, 2020.
The reconciliation
Okay.
report.
We have a, okay, that's page 51. Go to 52. This is like another treasurer's report.
January.
yep,
See the date? Okay, it's
yes.
January?
January, yeah. He got two in.
All right, I don't need a motion.
I will make a motion to the January.
For a second,
I'll second.
was that Emily?
Yep.
Thank you. Ed?
Aye.
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 I got-
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, reconciliation, good. Okay, food services for April 2021. Questions? Okay, I would like the permission of the board to move up, Steve Gagnon, about the possible move to town hall. He would like to, it's okay with the board?
Sure.
Sure. Steve?
One of the things that we wanted to.
Is the microphone on, Steve?
Sorry, how's that?
Oh, good.
From a meeting perspective, reporting, meeting room, one of the things that came up is, whether we're gonna continue meeting here or if there are other spaces. And I just wanted to bring up that the town hall is set up for recording. They've invested in the camera system. They have everything in place to make it easy for us to do the meetings at town hall. So that was one of the recommendations that I had, and I'm here to answer any questions that anybody may have for that.
Only because I've been in meetings there.
Yep.
The budget committee. Can you operate all of that newfangled equipment? Because I know there have been some problems with it, just logistically.
Yes.
You know, like,
The new system is set up so that we have remote access and we can facilitate, and we're on call to be available if there's any issues with the start of the meetings. But there does need to be somebody trained on the equipment because it is not something that
Right.
regularly we would be responsible for. But we are available if there are any issues that come up when the meeting starts.
so do we have somebody who's trained?
There's been discussion about volunteers or committee or somebody that we can get a group of people to get trained. I know that's something that was brought up at town hall, so it just never kind of moved forward. It was something Ernie was working on, and I know Chris still has it on his list, but there would be a group to get trained on the system so that everybody's familiar how to use it.
I did get a hold of, Julius and, Chris on this subject. We're gonna need at least two people, the original and then an alternate in case the other person don't show up.
Yeah.
So do we have anybody that would, board member like to volunteer?
Technical? No, thank
You
you.
might wanna get a younger person. You volunteer, Larry?
No, Mr. Chairman, if
Go
I
ahead.
may, when the first system went in at the town hall. I was a volunteer, and when it was an ABC system, I wrote out an ABC handbook. Naturally, the program changed immediately to Z35 yellow banana, and there went the ABC template. If a new template can be created, cover the left eye and read, that would be a help.
I think we can put that together, I just don't know if it can be on one page.
So would the board like me to contact, Chris and Julius again, and maybe I could call Bob and see if he'd be willing to volunteer again to,
Bob Carrier?
yes, to do it. Would the board want me to do that?
Sure. If you want to, yeah.
Or
That's
would,
great.
or would like to ask the secretary to come free?
She just, Charles, are you all looking at me? No, I saw those daggers come out of your eyes, so no. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell, thank you.
Who down there is trained? Because I know Humphrey is on the budget.
I ate, I didn't.
Well,
Karen,
I've been allowed
I know
to.
Julius.
I mean, tonight's dinner.
yes,
who is?
Julius,
Okay.
and, Karen are the, this is,
Oh, I don't need anything, actually.
I know.
oh,
I'd be happy to be an alternate. Bob Carrier can do it.
girls have to separate.
I know.
Too much fun.
Important business.
You want me to call Bob, see if he'd be interested?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
I need direction here.
yes.
Only one of five.
I'm gonna say yes. Yes.
Okay.
Now you want me to.
I would,
Thank you for at least looking into, because I knew that Zoom was hooked up or somehow, but I just remember one of the budget committee meetings that Humphrey set it up with a telephone number and stuff, because that was on the agenda, and then somehow you zoomed in, and it was never, but you did shut off that fancy equipment in the background or whatever. Yeah, so,
The only issue that would come up with that though is it would be the normal, like the in-person meetings again. So the ability to have the remote, like we have the TV here, that setup isn't necessarily there without a person being on site. So it does put it back in. They do have a conference room phone in there, so you can dial in conference calls, but the video component of it wouldn't be part of it over there.
so are you talking about, I'm as technical as I get, are you talking about continuing Zoom and you'd be remote and then record the meeting and people would be able to?
No, so
That's
from
YouTube
a
Live.
meeting perspective, I think we can do Zoom, we can do YouTube Live. It wouldn't be a collaboration, it would be for listening. So collaboration would be in person and viewing can be live or through Zoom. So we can still broadcast in real time if we want to, but it's not providing a method for people to
Right,
join the
that's
meeting.
just
That's an
fine.
in-person piece, right?
Okay, all right, thank you.
did anybody else have any questions for him?
I vote for Stacy.
No?
It's cool, nice.
I think it's the,
She has, I have AC over there.
And we're like 100 miles apart.
I know.
what's that?
See?
Yeah. Yeah,
I said we're so far apart.
She is uncomfortable. I know.
Hearing you back to the town hall.
Sorry, I'm in the middle.
Guys,
One or the other, buddy.
guys, excuse me, but you're gonna be 100 miles apart there also.
Hey, we all set with Steve?
Yep.
Because he wants to go home.
Oh, geez.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, no.
Now, Jen, did I cut you off? I'm doing that, I didn't.
I said, could you be closer if we got your shield, that's what I was
Oh. Back to me.
Right, I mean, but we have the individual shield.
Now, are you up next?
Get closer.
I know.
Are you up next? EE?
Why do we?
Esther?
Yes, Jen is going to talk about the grant.
So my first questions and add all the information?
Yes, well, the admin team has to do that. So,
I did read through the whole thing, by the way, it was kudos to everybody.
So, the plan itself, so to back up a little bit, I know Jan went over some of the deadlines last time, but this plan is due by June 23rd. So we don't have really another meeting before this is due, because the next meeting is June 23rd. So my thoughts were that we would amend it here, or we can present it and submit it as it is, and then 90 days pass from the original, report of them telling us we're getting money, basically. We didn't get the money, but we already have it, but, after 90 days, we actually have to even make more amendments to this plan. What would we want it to look like? How did we get stakeholder consultation, identify needs, and coordination of funds? This plan, though, we want to make sure if we're submitting it now, is what we're either agreeing to, doing, et cetera. So I just wanted to make sure we do that. And then at the next board meeting, we're going to have the public hearing portion where we talk about not just what we plan to do with the money or what we could do with it, but all of the federal requirements. It does involve a lot. And I just have some concerns about if we accept it, what that means in the big picture. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that on the next meeting.
Do you have a figure?
How much we're getting? $1.1 million. $1,093 or
$1,098,000.
something, yeah.
$1
Roughly
million
1.1.
something. Okay.
The only question I heard, can be used to lower the operating budget, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, the only thing I heard so far that it can be used, I'm quoting somebody, is to repair roofs. So what can this
I did
money,
repair roofs, so that's my favorite. It can be used for anything, so.
can be used for roofs?
Yep. So,
Can it be used
it
to
says,
do?
in general, determining if the activity is allowable, it can be used to prevent, prepare for, or respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, including impact on social, emotional, mental, and academic needs. But it can also be used for anything that involves breathing, basically. So they said, the reason it can do with anything facilities, including roofs, is because if you don't have a proper roof and you get mold inside there, it doesn't help with your breathing. So you can basically justify a lot of things.
What about if you have lead paint on the building?
So if you have lead paint in the building,
On the building?
or on the building, if you need these changes made to the building in order to make it so that it is okay to breathe in, that would involve everything involved within that. So they would have to pay for the abatement and all that stuff.
So how long is this grant good for, or the duration?
It is good till 2024. The unfortunate part, though, is it does have stipulations that the district has to hold until 2024, and that's what I want to bring to the next meeting. Nathan and I were going through some of the documents. It's a 61-page document about all of these frequently asked questions. I took out a lot of the ones that I thought we needed to address, and Nathan and I wanted to just get a little bit more information on what some of the specifics mean and if it means anything to our district in particular. So the first step was whether or not this is the plan we want to submit to the state to say this is what this document, yes. Because it does involve what are we doing now and what are we doing next year. But it's not, it has to be revised anyway, so, and it does have to be revised and looked at every 6 months.
Now, who, on the grant, who ends up signing the document? Chair?
Well, on this, it says,
On this, superintendent.
Because I know,
So it depends which document, there's lots of different ones, so the superintendent signs most of them. The assurances with like you guys sign the federal ones.
yes,
That's saying that you will do anything, including grant stuff, is already under that. So then when this specific grant came out, it was the superintendent who signed it.
so what is your proposal? You don't have the proposal, but these is money for it.
Not specific, but even if I wanted to, you have to have stakeholder input, so we'd have to get other people's opinions on what it needed to be used for. And we need to figure out a method for doing that. But it could be used for so many different things, as long as it doesn't take anything right out of the operating.
all right, so this document is what you would like to, or you're proposing to submit for the plan?
Yes.
Okay. I will be very honest, I did actually read everything. I have no problem with it.
The hard part is too, we wrote this as an admin team, and then the next thing you know, they're changing guidelines. So, I mean, this talks about things that we're doing this year, including on page 60, the universal wearing of masks this year and next year. So if you wanted to talk about that,
Page is that
on
on?
the agenda. Page 60?
The requirements for shields and stuff?
Absolutely. So,
That's what you're saying? I'm assuming A, universal and correct wearing of masks.
so I said yes in the
Yeah.
2021 school year
Right.
because it has changed, and then it said somewhat the 21-22 because we were allowing them originally not to wear masks all the time, and now we've transitioned at this, when this was written, to wear them, to take them off at their desk. Yes, I'm trying to make sure I'm saying that correctly.
So we just agreed to this, we submitted it as an agreement.
Yes, we voted on last time. This has not been
It's
voted
one of the
on.
requirements.
Right.
So what happens if CDC sends us, now you put me in a dilemma, I don't mean you, the government's put me in a dilemma. They say 2 years from now, remove the shields. Do this and do that. And we're telling them, we say we're gonna follow these guidelines for this document. And if we don't follow this document, do we lose the money? We'll have to pay it back.
We're allowed to amend this document.
Like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And they have to make us do that. I mean, there's no way they could say, you can, as long as we post it to our website.
Did you type this in there or did they?
We did, Jim and Adam.
This whole document you typed up?
So they gave us a template. So the template involved everything at the top, then the general things. Anything that says description, we typed in. Everything else was the template they gave us, so they required us to answer these questions. But we filled in where it says description.
So you were required to answer the mask question.
We were required, and so we put in there, not only what was in our prior plan, but the most recent recommendation that we made to the board.
Now, if we'd said no on this question, would that have affected us ability to get the grant?
If you said, no, we haven't submitted it yet, so you could say no right now and change it to anything you want,
It won't affect the ability for us to get this money in any way.
as long as we submit it and they approve it.
Okay.
Then
So my question is, doesn't make any difference whether you say yes or no?
if you say, no, I can't submit this.
No.
We would get the money.
No, that is not. On this question.
Oh, you can say anything you want, it's whatever we're doing, we just have to answer it on.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah,
So they're not looking for a specific answer.
Yeah, that's what
They just want an,
they just want to know what we're doing, what is our plan?
That's what.
and what the answer on here, help me out, because I get confused, is our plan for next year, or we're telling them what we did do?
We're finishing.
It's, they both years.
You have to say what you're doing this year,
Okay, so,
and
yes,
then also what you're planning for next year. We didn't
Do you
really
check
have a plan for
somewhat?
next year, so we just kind of put it all into one, but we
Okay.
can change it at any time.
okay, so it's not like locking us into anything.
No. And really, it says, so it said 90 days, so we have to have a second plan, we have to make revisions to this and include what we want to spend the money on by August 25th.
Of this year,
Yes.
Yes,
August 25th?
August 23rd, yes. And that one, it's not only this plan, but it's this plan, and it needs to include, this plan, but also list of stakeholders involved in this plan, stakeholder consultation, how did we do that? Identify the needs, and then how we coordinate funds. So this plan, and then some.
Well, so what do you need from us tonight?
Motion to approve it, to send it in, or nothing?
So I guess I officially don't need anything, but I think that the board can't, I mean, I don't want to submit a plan that not everyone's approved it of, so.
Do you want to make any changes to this plan before we submit?
I will reiterate, I read it, I read every single line. I have no problems because it's delineating what district did this year, very, like, yes. And then for next year, the somewhat. At first I kind of looked at it and then it says, okay, somewhat is fine for next year because we really don't know. So I have absolutely nothing I would like to add or change at this point.
Are you making a motion to accept this?
All right, I guess I will make a motion to accept as written.
Do I have a second? Ladies,
Second.
thank you. Any more discussion? Peg?
Aye.
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 Jen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen and the rest of the admin.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Anything else, Earl?
No, we can move ahead. Thank you.
Okay, let's see if I can find myself. Page 70, that's an FYI. I just gave it to the board for information only. And they didn't, any employment opportunity commission that came out Friday. I covered it May 29th. Mandating, that's all I'm doing is giving his information. Do we have any old business?
I'm just gonna, how's our list doing? Sorry.
I haven't checked anything off. The thing that's come off is the ball field sign. I guess they're using that sign.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I'll present it, that list to the board again at the next meeting. The list. I think we added to the list. Committee reports. Melissa?
We met,
I'm sorry?
we met,
We
policy met.
Policy met. How'd you do?
Not great.
Well, no, there's a,
Pat?
we went through some of the policies, there's some things that we agreed that we wanted to add and subtract, and we're not finished with it, because it is such an important policy right now. So we will be working on this and getting some drafts and then presenting them hopefully soon.
Do you want to meet?
Not Tuesday.
No, I'm not gonna. You made that clear.
Okay.
I was talking about not the 23rd
You did it a little loud.
facilities. Peg and I have coordinated with, Peg is, Peg's the chairperson. So, so would you like the first?
Sure.
What time do you want to start?
5:30.
Isn't it the second one, Sam?
we're
Because
gonna
the first
change
is PTA.
PTA.
Yeah, we go after the PTA meeting. I'm just saying, the PTA meets on the first Wednesday. We meet the second Wednesday. We meet the second and the fourth.
I said the first.
He meant the first one that we meet.
Okay,
The second.
I didn't take it that
He meant
way.
the first,
Okay,
he meant the first second.
I didn't take it that way. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a question. If you guys are not meeting until
Yeah.
5:30, how many go through today? Because I did look at the agenda that Tammy posted, and there were,
There's only one meeting in July, as Jan said.
Uh-oh.
We went through the most important policy right
It's taking
now,
a while.
which is taking a while because it is so important that there are a lot of issues that need to be included in it.
is that the Title IX one? What?
It's-
What? Okay, all right.
What is, what day is that, July?
28th?
No, the second one.
Second Wednesday?
And what day is it?
I don't know.
You can still meet that. Stop.
It's true.
You don't even
July
have to meet it.
14th.
You don't even have to meet at 5:30 if you want to meet later, and if you want to get that,
Pizza.
I'll show up for that.
You're buying.
Fine.
Just let me
You
know.
do, that's up to you. You just got to post it.
Okay.
It's up to you. We'll take that, I should say the fourth Wednesday of the month. Facility,
Yeah.
I know.
okay? So like I said, facilities, we're back on the 23rd.
Fourth Wednesday is, fourth Wednesday of our.
Oh, wait, the high school policy, by the way, we had done,
High school graduation policy. is done.
graduation was already got,
Hey, we finished 1.5.
what? Policy IKF was already done in, June 24th, 2020, so this one has already been updated. We did not have to go through this.
So what is it? You don't have to bring.
It's just one of the
High
ones we
school
were,
graduation policies, one of the policies that was, said that we needed to be updated, but we already did.
Agenda for the 23rd.
No.
First meeting.
Done, we did it last.
Yeah.
Can you still send it to us for that one?
Sure.
I have requested to change the computer requirement from full credit to a half credit, you guys approve that.
I think we should do that. Okay. All right, any more committee reports? Sorry, Jim. Bubble, I broke the bubble.
Yes, the facilities committee, consisting of me and Doug and Nate and Bob and Earl, will be meeting on June, whatever it is,
23rd.
23rd at 5 p.m. here at Newt Cafeteria to discuss what needs to be done facility-wise. Budget committee, nothing, we are so winding down. We are, because it's the end of the year for us, but we still have town stuff. I'm still enjoying it. So,
I wasn't able to make the last two town efficiency meetings because we were tied up Tuesday with that, this last Tuesday. And then, the one before that, they had it on a Monday and I was not able to attend that because I had another commitment.
well, if I can just give you an update that I've heard about that, because I was on the Economic Development Committee that kind of expanded. And I know that the Board of Selectmen is asking people to be on that committee. And what I heard was nobody really wants to be so much on that committee, and maybe just a combination of the economic development and then the efficiency groups getting together and doing something. So, I don't know, kind of what I heard through the grapevine. People in the know.
Any other committee reports? Okay, other comments?
Mr. Bava is requesting if you guys could have an emergency board meeting tomorrow night with the only item on the agenda to be, discussion of mass at graduation.
Huh? I have a meeting tomorrow night.
I can't be here tomorrow night.
It's gonna be possible. No,
He's actually watching.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I think he's watching online, so he'll be able to hear your response.
yeah, I gave him the link, so, yeah, he's watching.
Okay. Moving on. Larry, you have anything? Yeah, oh, yes, yeah.
Would you like a copy of a memo I put together for the Efficiency in Town Government Task Force?
No, are you on that committee?
Yes.
That's right, you are.
Sorry. That
Sorry.
committee meets in public, and its minutes are in full review and posted on the town board. It is a pleasure to work with them.
I didn't realize you were on the committee, so you get the Economic Development Committee.
If the board wanted a reasonable and fair summary, the Efficiency in Local Government Task Force has done some good work in survey, which lists problems of efficiency in government having to do with staff, resources, taxation policy, and state and federal statute. And then the third-party pressures of the 3% annual inflation over the last 20 years, which, if you do the math, remember the math, has driven town budgets up 100%. So those are the issues on efficiency we were dealing with. Also, the differences between efficiency and economy, and how to get together and put out a brochure that for summer visitor and year-round resident will explain the workings and summarize the different departments of the town. That is good work. So, I want to please turn your sunglasses over so the lens don't scratch. All right. There we go. Switching to ad mode. I don't care, and the polite phrase is a rodent hindquarter, what the best number is. I'm concerned about pattern and how to do the math to get a fair judgment on the cost of moving out X number of students to Y district. And I picked those numbers to be a stand-in for the actual dollar that comes out. And my problem is, I work alone. I only participate in meetings that are full open, on the public. I attended one, possibly two Zoom meetings for the task force. It was a disaster. You lose eye contact, you lose nuance. If John were here, you would lose gestures. So, all that thing. But I need to be more formal. Awkwardly, more formal. And I'm going to do it very obliquely. 20 years ago, Moose Mountain Regional Greenways started at the kitchen table of the New Hampshire Farm Museum. I have the keys to the building. Suzanne and I still support it. She gives her artwork. Peg called Suzanne yesterday or a day or so ago to hit us up for one more donation. Suzanne talked to Peg. Peg talked to Suzanne. Suzanne and Larry talked. I am uncomfortable that anyone feels that I do anything except what is available from careful observation and careful reading of documents that are available. I speak great state ed. I'm fairly fluent in RSA, and I have a pretty good memory. If you ask Earl, you will hear him say that I have backed away, and in a meeting with Doug and Earl in the Damon House, I left the room to make sure that I was not trading on any inadvertent information. It is an awkward thing for the good service, really, that each of you bring to the board, that somebody would be thinking that bluntly, I don't need the input from this board to figure out what I think the district is doing. Earl's coasting out. Nobody remembers Ann Kleber or Fern Downing. You're coasting on their salaries for your administration and sped. Those costs are riding to the top. We're trying to get rid of this. There is a serious discussion about lessening the cost of the high school. Anybody, and there's a plan to throw Nate under the bus, who is the best thing that this budget committee has had in the 15 years I've been dealing on the committees and on the budget committee. Anybody can figure that out. That doesn't take any special high sailor, new in town. And I just want the board to know that, and I don't want to hear anything like that has happened again. I used to live in New York. It's taken me over a quarter century to mellow out. This is mellow. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Anybody else before I make the motion to go into non-public? All right,
I'll make a motion to go into non-public.
second it,
And I'm being very quiet right now.
7:50.
I have 7:20.
7:31.
Okay, be under RSA 91A, 2, B, E, I, K, and L. Peg?
Aye.
I didn't.
Aye.
I did.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Peg, yep. Doug, yep.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay,
We have to say which ones we're sealing.
okay, I think we can move over to 12:13, the first set.
Yes. Yes.
So I need a motion to,
I'll make a motion to unseal the,
Unsealed 12, yeah.
12:13, and that was Melissa that seconded it?
Yeah.
Peg?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay. Unsealed. I'll take care of these tomorrow. Okay, and the other ones is the 3/14/18, that's the student matter, the first one?
Unsealed.
Forever. Peg? Ever? Indefinite?
Till the kid dies.
Okay, that's tomorrow.
What?
Wait,
Okay, seal that
Indefinitely?
indefinitely.
okay, I got it. Peg?
Aye.
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 I'll see you
You
for,
guys missed a real good time.
the other one's a safety issue.
Yeah, seal it.
No, that needs to be sealed.
Melissa first, Peg?
Yep,
Okay, definitely,
indefinitely.
definitely.
If you didn't want to say.
Peg?
Aye.
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 Okay, sealed. Can you make a motion?
Motion, second.
Peg?
Aye.
Aye.
This should be with